Good morning. I'm so way short on time this morning, but I promised myself that I would, out of my emptiness, come and give you some words because when I'm completely empty, which I am over just working a lot the last few days, I have children, two kids that are sick, my husband's sick. It's just, like you just get completely depleted. Um, but that's when the Lord fills you up, right? That's when we're completely empty and He can really come in and do His work. So never run from that feeling of being just completely depleted. I'm not saying it's fun and it's easy, but He'll work through you in that. So I promise that even though I am short on time, behind on time, and very empty, that I was still going to come to you with a journaling prompt this morning. So here it goes. I want you to write down what scares me, or how did I phrase it? Come on, Kirsten, let's make the brain work a little bit. What keeps me from living out loud for the Lord? And I like to always shorten things down because again, I'm short on time. So living out loud, let's write living out loud. What keeps me from living out loud for the Lord? There's a lot of things that I need work on. We're all works in progress. Nobody's perfect. But I will say one of the things that I feel like I do a pretty good job at is getting rid of the fear in my head when it comes to speaking out for the Lord. But I've had a lot of practice, right? I've been doing this for a really, really long time. I mean, I have no problem walking up to somebody and talking about Jesus, talking about it on national television, which I do all the time, doing it in the face of possible skepticism or people who don't believe the same thing as me, but I also know how to do it in a really kind and gentle and manner, I believe. So, but I don't think everybody's there. I think there's a lot of Christians out there. There's a lot of people who love Jesus with all their heart, who do this journaling like we're doing in the morning, and they get in the Word and they pray and they do things like that, but you wouldn't know it by meeting them out on the street, because they don't live out loud for the Lord. And it truly does say in this wonderful Bible that we have and in the Lord's Word that our main purpose in life is to go out there, and I'm putting this in my words, not in somebody else's, not in the Lord's, and not in any of the apostles, raise up baby Christians. And I don't even mean babies from babies, although we need to do that too. Definitely bring our children up in the way of the Lord. But we need to get out there and change the souls of people who don't know the Lord. They're children, they're babies, even though grown adults. And then we raise them up to be strong adult Christians. So that is our purpose out there. So we need to be able to go out there and live out loud for the Lord. And that doesn't mean that you're all going to do what I'm doing. You're going to get on Instagram and do a journaling series. You're going to write a book, or you're going to talk on national TV about the Lord. But don't be apologetic about your faith. Get out there and worship Him and talk about Him and weave Him into conversations without being afraid, or with being afraid, but you do it anyway. But what are the things that are stopping you? And I'm going to give you a couple that have in the past stopped me. Society's view of me. The fear of not being validated for my thoughts, of people not liking me, of people disagreeing with me, the fear of repercussions, the fear of, like, for instance, your job place and where you work. Maybe they don't want you to talk about Jesus. Maybe they don't agree with you. Maybe you're afraid of losing your job. Maybe you're afraid of what your family thinks. Maybe you are married to or in a relationship with somebody who is not a Christian, which let's talk about that one, shall we, first and foremost. I know there's a lot of situations out there, but we need to be equally yoked. But maybe you are hiding your relationship with the Lord for fear of somebody that you love leaving you. There's a lot of reasons why you might not be living out loud for the Lord. And just like in all of these journaling prompts that we do, we write these things down, we get them out, and it's more than just thinking about it. I hope that when you're going through this, you're not just thinking about it, that you're actually writing things down. There's such power, there is science, there is chemistry in our brains from taking the pen to the paper and writing it down and getting it out. Once you do that, it's more solidified. It's like what I do at work. If you watch me on QVC, I write notes. I take them into my presentation. I don't even look at them though. But once I've written them down, pen to paper, it's kind of solidified in my brain. So that's what you're doing right now. You're writing down what could be keeping you from living out loud for the Lord, so that when you're in those situations during the day, during the month, it'll spark that memory. You'll be aware, and maybe you'll change that behavior, because that's what we ultimately want to do, is change that behavior. We want you to be able to live out loud for the Lord. That's what we want. Okay, I have a verse that I just love. I should really try and use a different Bible. I mean, I always look them up in NIV and CSB and NLT, but I just love the message. It just gives me such goodness. John 4:23. It's who you are and the way you live that count before God. Your worship must engage your spirit in the pursuit of truth. That's the kind of people the Father is looking for, those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. I love that part. And it's like italicized too in this version. Those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. And God is the sheer being itself, spirit. It's good. Look it up in a couple of different versions. That's John 4, 23 and a half, 23 through 24. All right, so what's stopping you from living out loud? Write those things down so you can change those behaviors today. And remember, start out with those first 9 that we did. So how you feeling? What do you what can you humble yourself about? Gratefulness, prayers. I hope that you're getting a whole lot out of this. I hope you don't have a whole family full of sickies, and that you're not working too much, and that you're taking some good time for yourself. Thank you for being here with me. God bless.